Hey everybody, Tim Ulbrich here, and welcome to this week's segment of the RX Money Roundup on the YFP podcast, where we give you our take on relevant financial news and updates, answer your questions, and break down examples of financial planning in action. Today, I'll be talking about how millionaires think differently, referring to the work by Dr. Tom Stanley in his book, The Millionaire Next Door. But before we do that, let me give a shout out to the financial planning team and tax professionals at YFP that make this segment possible. At YFP, we support pharmacists at every stage of their careers to take control of their finances, reach their financial goals, and build wealth through comprehensive fee-only financial planning and tax planning. You can learn more and book a free discovery call by visiting yourfinancialpharmacist.com. Okay, this week, I want to talk more about a quote from one of my favorite personal finance books, The Millionaire Next Door by Dr. Tom Stanley. In the book, he says, quote, "One of the reasons that millionaires are economically successful is that they think differently." Now, when I think about my own journey, paying off way too much student loan debt and feeling like I was spinning my wheels financially, it was this book that started to shift my mindset to, quote, think differently, as Dr. Stanley says. So what specifically does he mean by they think differently? Well, they focus on net worth over income, realizing that income can come in, income can go out, but it's net worth, your assets minus your liability. That's what sticks. Millionaires understand the difference between an asset and a liability and what truly is an asset. Millionaires understand that the comparison game is a trap and it's one that's based on illusion. Millionaires have a semi-neurotic desire to learn and to grow their financial IQ. They realize that those that build wealth typically diversify their income beyond a W-2 income over time. Millionaires understand that some level of delayed gratification. Notice I didn't say extreme sacrifice, right? There's a balance, but they understand that some level of delayed gratification is necessary. Millionaires respect tax as a significant part of the financial plan, and they adopt a mindset to build a tax-efficient financial plan. They're adamant on paying their fair share, but no more. Millionaires realize that it's worth spending money on the things that they actually care about and value, and stop spending money on the things that they don't really care about, even if society tells them that they should. This is the mindset that Dr. Stanley is referring to when he says, quote, "One of the reasons that millionaires are economically successful is that they think differently." Now, I believe that all pharmacists have the opportunity to be economically successful and build real wealth. However, a majority, I don't think, will ultimately do that. And why is that the case? I think one of the reasons is that it's ingrained in our profession to focus on income from the very beginning, right? Especially for graduates around the turn of the century with the adoption of the PharmD. This is when the jump of salaries occurred at a pretty significant rate. I graduated in 2008. Remember the sign-on bonuses, the jumps in salaries, the doctorate degrees. You're going to make a six-figure income, right? There was this message that pharmacists make a great income. And that's a storyline that many of us have heard and accepted. And it's objectively true. Pharmacists make more than $50,000 above the average household income in the United States. But that mindset isn't suited for building wealth. Unfortunately, that income for many pharmacists is relatively flat, right? Cost of living adjustments don't cut it if inflation is outpacing those cost of living adjustments. And expenses often quickly rise in relation to that income and do so early in one's career. What that leaves is little margin to make real progress, and the result often ends up being a high income earner throughout much of their career, but having an average net worth. Quote, "I make a good income, but I don't feel like I'm progressing financially." It's one of the most common things I hear in the work that we do at Your Financial Pharmacist. Now, here's the good news. There is a different way. There is a better way. Yes, it's in the spreadsheet eventually, but first, it's a shift in mindset. So millionaires think differently. Are you thinking differently? Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of the RX Money Roundup on the YFP podcast. If you have a question that you would like for us to answer on an upcoming show, please send us an email at info@yourfinancialpharmacist.com, or you can record your question by visiting yourfinancialpharmacist.com/ask. As we wrap up this week's episode, an important reminder that the content in this podcast is provided to you for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide and should not be relied on for investment or any other advice. For more information, you can visit yourfinancialpharmacist.com/disclaimer. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you again next week. Take care.